welcome to Newswatch tonight on this last day of February 2023. Hope you had a refreshing day. My name is Melissa Odor. My sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Newswatch begins now. A survey by research company Infotrak has painted Kenyans with a gloomy outlook, even as 62% of them say the country is headed in the wrong direction. Respondents in the survey have cited the current high cost of living as the main reason for their sentiments, as only 22% believe the country was heading in the right direction. The survey has meanwhile put Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki as best performing in the last 4 months, followed by his education counterpart Ezekiel Machogu and Sports CS Ababu Namwamba coming in as third best performing Cabinet Secretary. However, there are those who have questioned the authenticity of this survey, with Nandi Senator Aaron Cheruiyot terming the findings as doctored.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya.
The survey by Infotrak Research, dubbed Voice of the People, February 2023, coming almost 9 days to the planned demonstration by Azimio la Umoja opposition on the high cost of living, shows that Kenyans are not certain of a bright future, with 62% of them saying the country is heading in the wrong direction. The issues of concern being the high cost of living, unemployment, and quality of education.
22% say the country is peaceful, with a 16% tie of Kenyans who believe that we're living in harmony. Then the executive, that is the presidency and his cabinet, working well, that's 16%. A double-digit number was attributed to the cost of living that is perceived to be affordable, amongst a 10%. However, if you look at other reasons that were also mentioned, though the numbers are a bit insignificant, there's a mention of digitization of the Kenyan. I think that is being carried out by the Ministry of Communication, Information and Digital Economy. There is also a mention of employment of teachers and Hustler Fund.
Meanwhile, Kenyans have rated the overall performance of government ministries as poor at 52%. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki was rated as best performing at 27%. He is followed from a distance by Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu at 12% and Ababu Namwamba of Sports at 8%. On the flip side, East African Community Arid and Semi-Arid Lands Development CS Rebecca Miano, her Labour counterpart Florence Bore, and Mining CS Salim Vuria were ranked as worst performing.
The first-ranked Cabinet Secretary with perceived performance is Professor Kindiki Kithure, followed by Ezekiel Machogu. Number 3 is Ababu Namwamba. Number 4 is Susan Wafula. There's a tie of number 4, both Midhika Linturi for agriculture, and number 5 is Alfred Mutua of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Then the list ranked were Salim Vuria of Blue Economy and Mining, Florence Bore, Rebecca Miano, and Soipan Tuya.
However, Nandi Senator Aaron Cheruiyot dismissed Infotrak's report on performance of cabinet secretaries, terming it as doctored. The latest survey was conducted between February 21st and 24th this year through computer-assisted telephone interviews and covered all the 47 counties and 8 regions of Kenya with a 94% response rate. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Melissa Odor. The process of replacing Wafula Chebukati and the 7 members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC will soon kick off. This follows the appointment of the 7 officials to sit in the selection panel that will recruit the nominees to be appointed as chairperson and members of the IEBC. President William Ruto has now gazetted the names of the 7, who include Bethwel Sugut, Novin Satieno, Charity Kisotu, Evans Misati, Benson Gugi, Fatuma Saman, and Nelson Makanda. The appointment is in line with the IEBC Act. The officials will be sworn in office next week, Speaking to Hope TV this afternoon, one of the officials, Nelson Makanda, who is also the General Secretary of the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, urged Kenyans to pray for the country as the government puts in place individuals to steer the country forward. Nairobi business community today staged a massive demonstration in the central business district, protesting against alleged invasion of the local market by Chinese investors. Dressed in their dust coats and overalls, the traders marched along the major city streets, carrying banners and placards calling for prioritizing of local businesses, saying Chinese business people have infiltrated their markets, citing the Kamkunji and Nyamakima stalls. Now, they marched from downtown to Harambee House Annex, which houses Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's office, to seek audience with him over the China Square uproar following its closure last weekend. Police later dispersed the crowd. And Juakali artisans in Siaya have decried the high cost of materials that they say is affecting the price of their products and are now calling on the government to address the issue. Through the Siaya County Juakali Umbrella Association, the artisans said that the high cost of production has forced them to adjust the price of their products, but members of the public who are equally pressed with the high cost of living were no longer buying them. Addressing the media after a routine meeting that brought together the informal sector leaders from Ugenya, Ugunja, Alego, Songa, Game, Rarieda and Bondo constituencies, the leaders through the Umbrella Association of Chairman Francis Obwanda said they were in support of calls for the government to address the high cost of living, adding that they are fully behind calls by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to compel the government to bring down the cost of living to manageable levels.
Sisi kama Juakali tunaumia. Na maana tuna support mheshimiwa party leader wetu the right honorable Raila Amolo Odinga kusema kwamba bei ya bidhaa imepanda juu zaidi. Si ni kweli? Sisi kama wanajuakali tuko na shida kabisa, hata bei ya chuma, bei ya kila kitu imepanda juu. Wanajuakali wa dogo dogo tunaumia kabisa.
Sisi kama wamama tunaona ugumu sana hata kwa upande wa upishi. Maana ukienda kujaza gasi, bei imepanda juu. Inafika wakati uko na gasi lakini hauwezi kujaza kwa sababu bei iko juu, huwezi kuafford. Kwa hivyo tunasema ya kwamba gavana wetu tunakushukuru sana kwa maana umesimama pamoja na wanajuakali. Tunaomba ya kwamba ukapate kutimiza malengo yako yote kwa wanajuakali, kwa sababu katika county, katika nchi ya Kenya wa idadi kubwa ni wanajuakali.
Let's take a first short break here on Hope TV Newswatch. We'll be back with many more stories. Don't go too far.
Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel that they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi.
Come back. It is a sigh of relief for 5 Kilifi families after cement manufacturer Simba Cement awarded their children scholarships to enable them join high school. The children who scored above 350 marks in their KCPE exams released last December were yet to join high school due to lack of fees. Now, the scholarship will support the students for their first year in school. Gloria Musimbi with more.
5 less fortunate families in Kilifi County are relieved after cement manufacturer Simba Cement offered their children scholarships to join high school. Gladys Dama, a parent to one of the girls that received the scholarship, expressed gratitude and consolation as her daughter, who scored 370 marks, can now join Bahari Girls High School and progress with her studies.
Kulingana na mtoto wangu vile amepata zile marksi, nimehangaika sana. Nimehangaika mpaka nikafika mwisho kabisa, nikajua sijui nifanye nini. Lakini kwa vile juzi nilipigiwa simu hapa, nikaitwa, nikaambiwa amechukuliwa. Nimesikia raha sana. Yaani nasikia raha hata huyo Mungu peke yake ndo atalipa. Mimi siwezi kulipa.
Speaking during the issuance of the scholarships at Bondora Factory, the head of administration of Devki Group of Companies which owns Simba Cement, Peter Paul, said that the company will continue to support more children as he presented checks to the families. The checks are to support the students for their first year and continue if they perform well.
We have this event to let you know that we have a scholarship for children who are needy, who are not gone to school. We want to support the family members who are here by distributing the checks.
Paul revealed that Simba Cement is also in the process of coming up with a feeding program targeting 2 local primary schools and 2 orphanage homes within the Kambe Ribe ward in Kaloleni, where the company is located. The schools selected to benefit from the feeding program include Bungoni Primary School and Mwayereni Primary School, all located in Kambe Ribe ward.
And we also want to have the feeding program, which we have in every industry or the plant wherever we are in Kenya. So we want to do the same today, as we have our chief, the local administration, the representatives of MP are supposed to be here. I think they are on the way. So this feeding, we will start with 1,000, where we have known the need to feed the children.
Last year, the company renovated 3 classrooms and an administration block at Bugoni Primary School. According to the school deputy principal Derek Karisa, the classrooms are currently hosting junior secondary school pupils. Karisa said that the school feeding program will help improve on school attendance and enrollment once ruled out.
There are 3 classrooms and an office that were recently renovated. So right now, they are being used by the GSS. We have accommodated the junior secondary school there. So we appreciate what the company has done to us. They have now even considered for feeding program, of which we appreciate. Right now, people are starving. We know of the drought. There are people who come on an empty stomach in the morning. So I believe when they'll have the feeding program there, it will help them. Because, of course, in fact, attendance will increase. So we expect even the enrollment to increase out of that.
The area, like many others in the country, is facing drought after failed rains in 3 straight seasons. Reporting for TV Newswatch, I'm Gloria Musimbi.
Ahead of this year's International Women's Day, a cross-section of women leaders has converged today to take stock of the gains made in the use of technology to amplify women's voices and advance gender equity. Speaking during the launch of the campaign dubbed Stop Cyber Bullies Now, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru said, while the vice hinders how women participate in public discourses and processes due to technology-facilitated violence, women should not be deterred in its use to advance gender equality and create safe spaces to empower and connect women to new opportunities and resources.
We come together to celebrate the achievements of women across the world and to acknowledge the challenges that we still face. This year's theme, Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality, highlights the power of technology to help us overcome some of these challenges. As we look to the future, we must embrace the potential of technology to create a more equal world The digital age has brought with it tremendous opportunities for women to break down barriers and achieve success in fields that were previously dominated by men. From increasing access to education and healthcare, to creating economic opportunities and improving safety, digital innovation has the power to transform our lives and empower women everywhere. However, as we celebrate the positive impact of technology, we must also acknowledge the challenges that come with it, particularly in the form of cyberbullying. In Kenya, women leaders have been particularly vulnerable to cyberbullying, which can take many forms, including harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence.
The Independent Policing Oversight Authority has commenced investigations into the killing of a Makupa-based traffic police officer by a motorist. According to police, the traffic policeman who was controlling traffic at the Buxton Junction in Mombasa lost his life after he was dragged by a motorist who refused to stop when he was flagged down. Mvita Sub-County Police Commander Maxwell Agoro confirmed the incident, saying the officer, who was in the company of his colleague, had flagged down an oncoming vehicle from the Coast General Referral Hospital direction. However, the motorist slowed down and refused to comply with further instructions, instead grabbing the officer and driving away with part of his body inside the motor vehicle for about 200 meters. Now, upon reaching the Shah Hospital, the rogue motorist let go of the officer, who slumped on the tarmac and hit his head on it. The officer was rushed to the Jocham Hospital for treatment, but unfortunately, on arrival, he was pronounced dead.
A vehicle emerged from the Coast General Hospital direction, driving carelessly. He was flagged down by the officer, and the officer told him to back aside. He was asked to switch off the motor vehicle, but he declined. The officer moved nearer to him, in bed in trying to switch off the motor vehicle. But the driver adamantly refused, suddenly grabbed the officer and drove away with part of his body inside the motor vehicle for about 200 meters. He was taken to Makupa police station, while the officer was rushed to Jocham Hospital for treatment. But unfortunately, on arrival, he was pronounced dead at the hospital without being attended to. That's so far the much we have. The suspect has been arrested, investigations are going on, and he will be arraigned before court.
And the Cabinet Secretary of Environment and Forestry, Soipan Tuya, together with the United States Ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, has presided over a sandalwood burning ceremony at the DCI headquarters in Kiambu. East Africa's endangered sandalwood is being illegally harvested at a rate that could become extinct. The misuse of this valuable resource is causing loss of biodiversity and a source of medicine for local communities. Speaking during the ceremony, CS Tuya stated that the ministry is working hard to ensure that sandalwood harvesting comes to an end. She further urged all stakeholders to up their game and commit their resources and efforts to combating the growing rate of sandalwood cartels in the country.
This event, again, is a call to action for all the stakeholders to commit their resources and efforts to combat the growing threat of sandalwood trafficking networks in Kenya and the region. At the local level, research has shown that state-embedded actors and security enforcement officers are sometimes connivers and support and collude with brokers to target community forests.
To some regional news now, Nigeria's two main opposition parties are calling for the cancellation of the Saturday presidential elections, alleging manipulation of results and demanding a new ballot. Labour Party Chairman Julius Sabure, along with representatives of the People's Democratic Party, said the elections are a sham and irretrievably compromised and should be immediately cancelled. Saturday's voting was mostly peaceful, but many polling stations opened very late, and delays and technical problems disrupted uploading of tallies from local polling stations to a central website. The country's election overseer, the Independent National Electoral Commission, said problems were technical glitches. Early tallies show ruling All Progressive Congress Party candidate Bola Tinubu ahead of PDP's Atiku Abubakar and Labour Party's Peter Obi.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair. Yeah. I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen. Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu Jesus.
I got tired of working with the x-ray papers and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more.
A look at business now. The Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, has suspended all tax relief payments inclusive of refunds, exemptions and waivers effective today, February the 28th. This is in a bid to restructure and enhance the process and procedures of tax exemption following concerns raised by Kenyans. In a statement, KRA Board Chairman Anthony Nganga Mwaura said the taxman has in the past 5 years granted tax reliefs and incentives totaling 610 billion shillings with an average of 122 billion shillings per annum. He said while the taxman continues to comply with the law by assessing and processing reliefs during this period, it will disburse payments until the process is complete. Nganga further pointed out that the current suspension and ongoing review of tax relief aims to increase the impact of tax expenditure on economic growth through minimizing tax expenditures and aligning it with international best practices for better internal revenue. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers, KAM, has launched the Manufacturing Priority Agenda MPA 2023. The Manufacturing Priority Agenda this year shall guide Kenya Association of Manufacturers advocacy geared towards manufacturing sector competitiveness. Whitney Akinyi has more.
The Kenya Association of Manufacturers has launched the Manufacturing Priority Agenda, themed Resetting Manufacturing to Achieve Agenda 20 by 30. Speaking during the launch, CAM Chief Executive Anthony Mwangi, who stated that the agenda presents proposals that will transform the manufacturing sector if implemented and subsequently contribute 20% to the gross domestic product from the current 7.2% to 20% by 2030, which is a joint dream with the Kenyan government.
Kenya Manufacturing Agenda 20 by 30. That means growing the contribution of manufacturing from the current 7.2% to the GDP to 20% by 2030. This is a joint dream with the government at the highest level.
Job Wanjohi, CAM Head of Policy Research and Advocacy, further stated that among the key actions and pillars that the policy is focusing on are global competitiveness, SME development, export-led industrialization, and industrializing agriculture.
The Manufacturing Priority Agenda for 2023 carries a theme of resetting manufacturing to achieve Agenda 20 by 30. And we have 4 pillars in it, and our CEO has talked about it. One is global competitiveness, Second is export-led industrialization, talk about SME development, and then industrializing agriculture.
While giving his remarks, CAM Board Chair Rajan Shah stated that the weakening of the Kenyan shilling to the other currencies is a red flag that should be addressed in order to streamline our economic status.
The high and persistent inflation rate and the weakening of the Kenyan shilling against major currencies, including the US dollar, is a red flag that there is an underlying economic problem and should be addressed.
Also present during the launch of the PA State Department of Investments Promotion, Abubakar Hassan Abubakar, who commended CAM for a good job with the MPA project and said that the government will work hand in hand with the private sector to ensure economic stability.
The government will continue engaging in private sectors to actualize this objective. I therefore wish to thank the Kenya Association on Manufacturers for the continued development of the MPA that drives the future of Kenyan dialogue on manufacturing.
For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Whitney Akinyi.
To some sports now, Argentina and Paris Saint-Germain forward Lionel Messi has been named the Men's Player of the Year at the 2022 Best FIFA Awards. 35-year-old Messi beat French forwards Kylian Mbappe and Karim Benzema to the prize. Barcelona's Alexia Putellas was named the Women's Player of the Year. Lionel Scaloni, who led Argentina to their third World Cup title, was named Men's Coach of the Year, beating Pep Guardiola and Carlo Ancelotti to the honor. England manager Serena Wigman was named Women's Coach of the Year after leading the Lionesses to European Championship glory on home soil last year, the team's first major trophy. Aston Villa and Argentina's Emiliano Martinez were recognized as the best men's goalkeeper, while England's Mary Earps won the women's award. That's Newswatch on this last day of February 2023. I have been your host, Melissa Odor. Boniface Muredi has been helping us with sign language interpretation. Let's do this again tomorrow, God willing. Have a good night.